Welcome to LCAP Legacy, Decades of Dedication, the podcast that celebrates the incredible individuals who have shaped the heart and soul of the Lawrence County Community Action Partnership.
Each episode, we'll dive deep into the stories of those who have devoted their careers to making a difference, not just in our organization, but in the lives of the people we serve every day.
We'll uncover their journeys, explore the moments that inspire them, and highlight the lasting impact of their commitment to LCAP's mission.
So whether you're here to learn, be inspired, or simply celebrate the amazing people who make LCAP what it is, thank you for joining us.
This is LCAP Legacy, Decades of Dedication.
Let's get started with today's guest.
Hello, everyone. This is our 23rd episode, and we have our wonderful Amy Antol in the studio today, along with my two great co-hosts.
Good afternoon. Good morning, everyone.
Hello.
Amy Antol is the Instructional Support Coordinator for Lawrence County Community Action Partnership, and we're so happy to have you in the studio today, Amy.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming in.
So, Amy, you have been here for the past 10 years. Take us to the beginning of your journey. How did you get involved with LCAP?
My journey started actually before 10 years. We would partner with local basketball organizations, and LCAP used to run a basketball tournament. So I ran that for 5, 6, multiple years before even coming on as what I started at as behavior support. And it just evolved from there.
Nice. So you are now currently the instructional support coordinator. And you start as the behavioral support. So walk us through how you went from that role to the current role that you're in now.
When I first started here, I got hired as to be the responder in the classroom. So like when behaviors were happening or teachers were having challenges with students with IEPs or needed support services, I would be the one that went in to do the observations, collect some data. And it just keeps growing from there. So I still do observations. I still do data. I still go in to support students individually on day-to-day and teachers. It just gets a little bit more involved with outside agencies now.
What's a typical work day look like for you?
There is nothing typical about this job. Every day is its own, just like the kids are their own. So you're never getting the same day twice. But it can start anywhere from having support calls in the morning or quiet mornings where you can actually collect some observations and data, or I work on the inventories to supply our classrooms with everything they need, or just simple professional development and seeing what our teachers need.
What would you say is one of the biggest challenges that you face as the instructional support coordinator?
Time is finding the time to do everything that is needed for the kids and our staff.
And why do you think, I guess it's a two-part question. So for people who don't know what an ISP is, can you explain it? And why is it important for parents to consider having their children be evaluated in the classroom?
So an ISP is just technically a term that we use in our program. It's an in-service plan. But what the term I think you're looking for is IEPs or IFSPs. So there's individual education programs that are for our 3 to 5 year olds. But then there's also the IFSPs are for your 0 to 3. So early intervention is great. We have seen some students who got early intervention when they started preschool and they're excelling now at the school district. But then you also have those kids that you can see as soon as they get individualized services that they start growing from summer to summer, and they just continue to evolve. We say the brain develops the most between the first 5 years. So getting that early intervention, having those supports on the outside is key to helping brain development.
And when you are in a classroom making observation, what are some of the key things that you look for when you're observing a student?
So I like to look for what are called antecedents. So those are the things that come before the behavior. So the why. So we go off of a model that's like the ABCs. You got your antecedent, you have your behavior, and then you have consequences. But consequences aren't always what we think of positive consequences because everyone thinks of negative consequences. But our classrooms do operate on a positive model for the most part. So you got to think out, are they getting a positive consequence? Or are they getting a negative? But what we might think is negative to them could be positive. So like, take an example. If you are a kid and you are acting like the class clown, well, if your peers are interacting with you, you just got your positive consequence reinforcement. But it's not what you should be doing. So it's trying to figure out what is maintaining that behavior in the classroom.
So how do you juggle all the different multiple programs and classrooms and everything that you have to do?
So the programs are, we hold the same expectations for all of our programs, even if they are infants, toddlers, preschoolers. It's just how we get to the outcomes is different.
And what do you enjoy most about your job, Amy?
I like interacting with the kids, watching their face light up, watching them learn new things, watching them when they see me in the parking lot, like, hi, Miss Amy, or are you going to come play with us today? Because they don't see the other things. They see that I get to play with the toys. I get to play with them. I get to interact with them. They're the best part of the day.
They don't see it as being observed. They see it as we're just playing.
Right. I was doing an observation the other day, and the one little kid kept coming, you're going to come play with me, right? I'm coming over. I'm going to bring my trucks. So that's all they see.
And they need that one-on-one attention and special time. It makes them feel so good. And then, their friends come along too, and
they like
give
showing
them
me
all
that
the-
they can operate the class, like telling me what I need to do. Or they're also pretty good at telling you what you didn't do right in the classroom. That's not how my teacher does it.
Kids, they're funny. They'll definitely let you know when you're doing something wrong.
They sure will.
And you did say that you spent a lot of time in the classroom. So you have supported many teachers in classrooms. And what's something that you have been taught in return?
I have been taught how to accept everyone for their differences and their different personalities. So if I would interact with you, I have to interact one way. If I would interact with Amber, like, it's a different way. It's just learning how, just like the kids, adults are different. So
I think a lot of our adults need to learn that too.
I like that. That was a good way to put
do
it.
too.
Yeah. Because it's true. We don't interact with everyone the same way we do with everyone. It's different.
And I will say, as an adult, when you reflect on like your own education experience, how would you have liked your teachers to maybe talk to you or teach you when you were younger? Or what differences would you have made?
honestly, I can remember the teachers that have stood out more than the ones that haven't. So it's more so the activities, the adventures, the things, the extra stuff that you remember more so than just the day-to-day.
And how do you balance your self-care with your professional care?
Self-care to me is enjoying my time at home with the two boys I have. I spend a lot of time at the hockey rink with them. So it's just being a mom and enjoying those moments.
So what keeps you motivated on the hard days at work?
The smiles, the laugh, the belly giggles that you get from some of the kids when you go in and interact with them.
And obviously, you have been in this role for the past 10 years. So how do you keep things fresh and exciting in your role after a decade of service?
The kids have changed. The things that they need have changed. What you get yesterday is not the same thing you're going to get today or tomorrow. So it's just accepting the challenges and what is put in front of you every school year.
And what are some ways that you've seen firsthand how classroom has changed for like the children?
We are getting a lot of more students who provide challenges to the classroom, whether it's the lack of communication, which we all know if you can't communicate, then you're going to find a way to communicate, especially when you can't do it verbally. So it's a lot of pointing or gestures, or sometimes it leads to crying and screaming. So it's figuring out how to meet those kids' needs, because in our community, there are a lot more needs, especially since the pandemic and how early education was halted a little bit at that point. So we're seeing a shift in the needs, and they're becoming greater.
And what is one tool that you cannot live without at work?
I kind of like the fidgets that are sitting on my desk, because I'm not one that likes to stay still. So I can relate to all our kids that are always moving and having fun and have to do something.
You do have a two-part title to yourself. So not only are you the instructional support coordinator, but you're also the community facilities organizer. So within that role, what do you do?
So that part of my job is we work with like if outside sports teams would like to come in and reserve our spaces, like our basketball area. We have the baseball cages that are in the basement. So I handle all of that, but also if the state like wants to come use in our boardroom or things like that, like out our Frumo location, they just handle the reservations. What technology do they need? Where are they parking? The logistics of all the events themselves so they go smooth.
And I would like to note that if not many people do know about the rental opportunities that we do have here. So if they want to like reach out to you, what would be the best way to do that?
They can email events@lcap.org and they can get information that way.
And also check out our website too. That's a great way to learn. Yeah.
So, Amy, how would you personally define community impact?
Making a difference today so you can see a positive change tomorrow and having it build. Like when you have families that you've taught 10 years ago and their kids are here and they see the success that their kids had. So they made sure that they're coming through the same program, but also just seeing that change as the kids come through the door every day.
And you did mention, how much the kids mean to you, but obviously you have an incredible staff that you work with every day. So what is it like? What has it been like for the last 10 years showing up and knowing that you can count on the people that you work with?
That's one of the greatest benefits we have is our teachers and our support staff and our assistants, our bus drivers, because they show up every day for the kids too. And without them, we couldn't do the work that we do in our early learning program.
I must say we do have an outstanding, amazing early learning program.
It is the summer right now, but obviously you guys are preparing for the new school year. So what are some things that families and students can look forward to with this new upcoming school year?
They can look forward to lots of engaging activities in our classroom, new bus experiences, new classroom experiences, new friends. They'll come welcome back a lot of their familiar faces if they were with us last year, but just a lot of new learning experience for the parents and the kids themselves.
Nice. And how are you preparing for the new school year?
To me, a new school year is just a new set of kids. Sometimes they're back and it's just, we got to get started on the right foot and just make sure all of our classrooms are ready. We have the materials that we need. We have our systems all set up in place. So it's a smooth transition in for everybody because we all know a rough transition just sets your day off rough.
Absolutely. And one of the main themes of this podcast is legacy. And I like to ask each of our guests, once you are done here at LCAP, what is the legacy that you are hoping to leave?
At the end of the day, these kids are still just kids. Like they are up to 5 years old and to see the good in them.
That's beautiful.
I love that.
I do too. We're so happy you came on.
So we're going to go ahead and wrap up the hard questions and we're going to make our way to the quick fire round. And how that works is we're going to ask you a series of questions and you're just going to answer with whatever comes to your mind first. You ready?
Let's go.
All righty.
All right. So what is something on your bucket list that you still haven't got to check off yet?
To go to Hawaii.
Ooh.
Ella just asked me to go to Hawaii the other day, actually. So that is so funny. I said, I don't think we're going, but that's pretty good. So I'll have to tell her you said that. And where is your favorite place to go eat at in town?
I like to go eat at Applebee's right now.
Everybody likes Applebee's.
If your facility had a mascot, what would it be?
Any of the book characters, I would think.
Is there any particular one you like the best?
Let's go with the Cat in the Hat.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. And then what is your favorite thing to do in your spare time? Do you have any hobbies? I know you mentioned the boys and going to hockey. Is there anything else that you guys like to do?
We like to just play outside.
That's the best. Just sitting, playing in dirt, mud, picking things up and doing nature stuff with, like going on a little nature walk.
And how old are your boys?
They are 10 and 8.
Oh, those are fun ages.
Uh-huh.
And they went through the Head Start program, so they are pretty familiar with our buildings.
That even makes it more special too when you could firsthand say how special our early learning program is because we went through it and we lived it.
What is your go-to favorite dish to bring to a potluck?
I normally make peanut butter pie.
Ooh.
Yum. We need the recipe.
Yeah, you should just bring us in some. We don't need the recipe. You can just make it for us.
Let's see what happens.
Did you ever have it at like any of the Springfield restaurants like Hickory or the Iron Bridge, Rachel's? They always have a real good peanut butter pie.
I think I first remember having it at Ben Franklin's.
Uh-huh.
And then was like, I can try to make this.
And you did.
I did.
Oh, good for you. That's wonderful.
Compliments of Google.
Well, thanks so much, Amy, for coming in.
And then before we end, what has been one of your fondest moments working here at LCAP?
I think just meeting people and just seeing the different people that come through the door and just how things have changed.
And before we wrap up this episode, is there anything else that you would like to say or get off your chest?
Not at this time.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, Amy, for joining us on the show today. And thank you for your time here at LCAP. You have put in a decade here and you've been very influential in a lot of children's lives, whether parents know it or not, that you are working hard to make sure that they have successful careers as they go into the bigger schools. Mm-hmm. So that's very important.
Thank you. And thanks for having me.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that will wrap up another episode of LCAP Legacy, Decades of Dedication. And we'll be back next week with another special guest.
Have a great day.
Have a wonderful week.